Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video I'd like to talk to you about diversification as a concept that is super important for companies, businesses that are trying to either enhance their competitive edge or simply try to preserve their current situation. And diversification is very interesting because there are a lot of pros and a lot of cons attached to it. And so not every business is actually diversifying. And so what it simply boils down to is you trying to increase your revenue stream, and you can do this in different ways, right? You can increase the type of products that you have in terms of, for example, color to adhere to different interests, or in terms of specifications, for example, to have different customer segments, more wealthy people, less wealthy people. You can also try to have different sales channels. You can sell physically in the store, but you can also sell digitally through, for example, a website or an application. You can diversify the type of business, right? You can be a phone manufacturer, but at the same time also be a computer manufacturer, and at the same time actually also perhaps build a car. And different products that are like very different from each other might need also a very different business behind it, and that is business-based diversification. Then, of course, we might also need geographical diversification, meaning that we're not just going to be active in a city, not just going to be active in a region, not just going to be active in a certain country, but sometimes even all over the world. And this is actually also something that many businesses opt for. So that's diversification, but then what are the pros and the cons, right? So the pros are twofold. Diversification can help you grow, and it can help you preserve your continuity. So in terms of growth, we can think about three things. First one is, if you have, for example, geographical diversification, you can grow faster. Because sometimes your own country is not big enough, or you're reaching the limits of the population, and so you want to just get out there and expose yourself to the world, and this way grow faster than if you wouldn't have done that. And Netflix is a very good example of this. The second one for growth is that you may sometimes want to provide a total package, so that one of your sales is going to reinforce a second sale. So think about Apple and its ecosystem of phone, tablet, and all of the services around it. And so if you're buying an Apple phone, then having also an Apple tablet and having all of the Apple services is very convenient, because these sales communicate with each other, right? The phone notices that you also have the tablet, and the tablet is going to notice that you have perhaps Apple TV. And this is going to lead to a very nice experience, because it clicks, because it comes from the same manufacturer or same business. And so providing a total package in terms of an ecosystem is a very nice way of diversifying if you seek to enhance your growth. The third way in which you can do this, get growth through diversification, is by simply hitting someone else where it hurts. So then we're actually talking about intense competition. So think about Apple Music back in the day. And Apple Music today is very successful, but Amazon once tried to actually snatch victory here out of the jaws of defeat, and it tried to become the Apple Music that we're knowing today, and that would have made Amazon even bigger than it currently is. It didn't turn out to be successful, but if Amazon's attack here became successful, Apple would have had less income, Amazon would have had more, and this would have also fed into Amazon's ecosystem here with its platform, with its Alexa, with its all of this. So we talked about growth, but we haven't talked that much about continuity yet. So if we talk about continuity, then there are two things that can be on our minds. First one, we might try to, through diversification, see what other ways are there in which we can get our products or services to the customer. And so we might try to experiment with a second product, with a second country, with a different sales channel, and this way try to preserve our position, not necessarily grow, but preserve it by experimenting with what other things are possible besides our main betting horse. And the second thing that we can think about is that companies sometimes simply want to be ready to capture a blow. So sometimes it's simple competition. So think about Netflix and Disney's competition now in streaming, and Disney is clearly the more diversified competitor here because of, for example, also its theme park, right? But Netflix only has its streaming business, and if you would just look at this from the point of view of diversification, then Disney should be able to win this because it can still have income from a non-streaming business, and this is going to help it, for example, cut prices and get into cutthroat competition. Perhaps something more relatable is the coronavirus, something super unexpected, and many businesses actually caught unexpectedly by the virus. Primark, we talked about in one of the previous videos, is a fashion retailer that actually does not have an online sales channel because it didn't see this coming. And coronavirus restricting people physically moving actually prevented Primark from selling stuff to its consumers in this very difficult period. So if it had diversified, it would have been able to capture this blow by shifting its physical sales to the digital domain, but it couldn't. So growth and continuity, two very important reasons to do diversification. But what are the downsides here? Also very important to touch upon. And a very interesting case is Philips here, as a company that back in the days used to have so many businesses with so many products all over the world, but nowadays has chosen to focus on particularly health because all of the other businesses it found out it couldn't manage. And so, there are certain downsides about diversification that Philips found out, and because of that decided to, focus on its health business only and try to sell all of it. So if you have a lot of businesses, you have to coordinate. You have to coordinate the managers, you have to coordinate how the products fit with each other. Is the ecosystem going to work, yes or no? And, a lot of coordination costs are involved here. Rules, regulations, checking everything, contracting, all sorts of things. Secondly, if you want to have different businesses, you better make sure that you're ready to invest. You need to invest sometimes in plants, in hiring people, in consultants, in marketing, and if your business that you're diversifying with is very different than the original one, so if you're talking about an unrelated diversification, then these costs are going to be even more, and this is something to seriously think about. And finally, opportunity costs as a concept bundles the coordination and investment costs together. So opportunity cost means that you have to consider whether doing something is worth it or whether you should have spent your money on something else. So is the coordination costs and the investment costs related to diversification worth it? Yes or no? And if it is not worth it, then perhaps you should just focus, like Philips, on your core business where the profitability is the highest and where you perhaps can get the most shareholder value out of. So in general, diversification has lots of pros and a lot of cons. It can make or break you in certain cases. So you have to think wisely before you're actually going to diversify, or the flip side, whether you're going to reverse diversify and so going to divest your businesses. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope to see you also in future videos. Wish you all the best in the world. Take care.